Welcome to NRGscapes' latest presentation. This one's on a UAP that appeared across the skies in Perth that was uploaded to a public domain, and we acquired the film and decided to look into it and edit it ourselves. So we've published a paper on this to NRGscapes Lab on ResearchGate, and this is the presentation that goes with it. So it's put together by myself and Stephen Lear of Hidden World Quantum Imaging. And on the front here, you can see an excerpt of the footage that we've uploaded of it going across the skies in Perth. A still frame from that showing an energetic wake or trail behind it. And then over here on the left, we've got stacked frames of that whole process of it coming into view and out of view across 17 frames. And then the various imaging or stacked images of the 9 different ways we put together image analysis for quantum imaging, zoom and exploded views. In terms of NRGscapes itself, we're experts in the analysis and interpretation of UAP. We lead the field in technology transfer and reverse engineering, at least in the public domain anyway. And then development of scalar resonant mobility systems for transmedium craft. So a lot of our work is on analysing our own UAP data or data that's given to us or publicly available data, and then using that to build our concept and engineering design concepts for scalar resonant fieldcraft. In the slide here, we've got a concept or prototype rendered image of what a scalar resonant fieldcraft would look like, and we've published a lot and done a lot of work on this, which you can find on ResearchGate in our NRGscapes Lab profile. What we do, so NRGscapes has an AI model that it's building, and that's trained exclusively on our own UAP data that I've stated previously that we've collected ourselves and or has been made available to us. And we've trained the system, the AI model, to map scalar-indexed signatures, gravitational lensing effects, and morphodynamic behavior critical to understanding UAP functionality. And the key to that is looking at technology transfer through reverse engineering. So clues for non-inertial propulsion and materialist energy systems directly from observed phenomena. And that's how we came up with the Scalar Resonant Mobility System. And we'll link a lot of that back to other work by Maxwell and Heaviside in terms of extended electrodynamics, other scientific theories about non-inertial propulsion. So all that's fed into the AI model that we've built over the last 6 months too, from our previous year's work and data in the field, in the lab and in the office. And there's an image here from a Carragini orb that we've been analysing, which we've published on as well, that shows some of these features in terms of index valving around the outer membrane structure, internal toroidal fields around a central nucleus, the layered membrane structure, and nodal coupling with an external lattice field. In terms of contents, what I'll take you through is the event overview, the captured anomalies, the imaging methodology that we used, and then the results, including quantum imaging, Doppler dynamics and waveforms, structure and modal interaction, bifurcation in membranes, the overall visual evidence grid that we constructed that informed all this, and then implications for future work. In terms of the event overview itself, you'll see the same frame, image frame excerpt there of the object as it flew over the Perth skies in the early evening. Now the location of that was Western Australia in Perth, filmed on the May the 15th at about 6:15 at night by Weeby Edgelord using a mobile phone camera. Now the full available footage was about 990 frames. Now we chose 17 for our image analysis, and that was based on the visual anomaly, the energy emission, structural coherence, and object behavior repetition. So during the filming, it was a clear night sky. There was no flash. The object materialized in mid-frame, appeared without any visible energy or combustion signature. And in the original film, extended film, it reappeared on a different trajectory. So the movement pattern included sudden reorientation that was inconsistent with inertia. So the captured anomalies, the energetic trail that was left behind the object, and that left a non-material, possibly field-based wake behind it. And you can see that in the footage there and one of our quantum image frames that are next to it there. Now there was color bifurcation, so you can see in the image there was red forward and blue to the rear, which suggests a Doppler shifted effect. Red moving away and blue moving towards, and this energetic trail sitting there as well. Now that suggested directional field interaction consistent with these Doppler-like effects, and there was non-visible propulsion, so there's no jet, no rotor, no conventional thrust signature associated with this object. In terms of methodology, we use quite a standard process now for looking into UAP, and that's the classical imaging for baseline structure. That's your red, green, blue decomposition and contrast mapping to establish the form of the object. We then look at exploded frame views to reveal internal detail. So that's frame layering and radial expansion techniques to look at core dynamics. We move to quantum imaging to visualize scalar field interactions. That's advanced filters, waveform analysis. So not pixels, actually using waveform analysis to reveal lattice nodes and energetic coupling. We look at radial image expansion of the object to separate the internal components, and that's without using zoom. So we only use zoom last after we've done these other processes first. So avoiding the zoom distortion reveals the internal layers a lot clearer than trying to zoom in on the object, and preserves the pixel integrity because we're using a waveform scan analysis over the image to peel back the layers in terms of color composition, so that shape coherence is maintained. It's not distorted by altering pixel integrity. And then lastly, we look at variance of this, so we get cross-validated via overlay stacking. So use three layers or 3 frames to try and reveal the internal, well, not 3 frames, 3 different versions of the same frame to reveal internal dynamics. So the results themselves were quite interesting. So we've got the usual scalar valving that was seen in some of our other analysis around the outside of the object. So you've either got scalar valving or you've got coupling with lattice nodes that appear as well around this membrane structure, and we get this valve index clocking as the object spins internally and orientates and ingests whatever the energetic medium is. Now color channels reveal this quite nicely in terms of Doppler shifted dynamics. So red moving away, blue towards. You can see here a lattice node coupling where there's some sort of energetic ingress into the structure itself in terms of red towards, red away and blue towards. We get this flattening off too when we see this nodal coupling or bursts of energetic increase coupling with the nodes, and around here again you can see it, and then you get the energetic ingress. So there's 2 different things. There's the index valving or energetic coupling, and then there's ingress into the object itself. It's spun around through membrane layers into the nucleus, and that is the energy source required to maintain the toroidal field. Another different type of imaging using quantum imaging is this one, where you get this grey-black void following the object itself, almost as if the energy consumed is expelled behind it, suggesting that there's some sort of energy depletion or extraction from the surrounding lattice itself. Next in results, we've got this red-blue spectrum. This is quite a nice image analysis here that looks at classical Doppler effects driven by scalar field. So there's orientation is a bit more detailed than the previous one here, in terms if you look very carefully where the membrane is flattened off, where it almost seems to hit a node or energetic node in the lattice itself, and you get this Doppler shift of red away and blue towards as it connects with and harnesses this available energy, which is then inserted into, through index valving, the internal membrane structure, which is the driving force or energy required to keep this nucleated core going and the toroidal vortex that is around it. In terms of weight, we've got this depletion trail behind. Okay, it aligns with zones of lowered pixel density and spectral voids. So you've got a void space here, which sort of correlates with the previous image where we've got this depleted energy zone in the lattice or substrate of space itself. And down here we've got this weight morphology that we've analysed this from, or taken the original frame from, and this indicates some sort of coherent field behaviours that's sustained across the motion of the object as it moves through the sky. Now the object gets flattened, as I've stated previously, when it comes into context with these energetic nodes, almost as if it's like a gunshot of energy as it reaches out and harnesses from these nodes in the lattice, and then it gets incorporated into the object itself. We've got, while this is going on, the nucleus itself always seems to maintain stability. So we've got some flux lines that seem to vary around it all the time, because we're taking a two-dimensional slice through a three-dimensional object. So we get these void spaces around the nucleus that may or may not be Doppler shifted depending on the frame, and the core sort of seems spatially fixed, while you've got this spinning, spiraling membrane that goes on around it. You can see this in more detail here when we look at the energy harvesting, how once it's incorporated into the internal membrane structure, it seems to get increasingly concentrated or worked its way through some sort of vortex into the internal structure or toroidal field inside the membranes, between the membranes and the nucleus itself. Lastly, with the analysis, another quantum imaging form here, a lot more looking at the layered membranes. Now, you get quite a layered membrane assembly that goes on with these objects or these orbs, and then we saw all this in our Caragini orb analysis as well, where you've got these layers and layers and layers of membranes which provide a boundary layer between the outer membrane structure, where you've got the index valving and nodal coupling going on, and this internal space where you've got this vortex that surrounds this toroidal field, which then also has a stable nucleus in the middle of it. Here you can see what looks like some sort of circular flux line going on with coming towards and moving away. And we've got Doppler shifted images of this showing blue and red shift within the flux lines going on in this toroidal field. Here, sort of activity, again, we've got some color enhancement which shows this Doppler shifted effect was seen in earlier versions, with the red away and the blue towards. And in particular, you can see there's quite a lot of activity going on around the outer membrane when it comes to this, in terms of nodal coupling with the lattice and the dynamics of membrane coherence and structural form, in terms of creating an enabling environment where the index valving, as it turns, enables, whenever a node is coupled with, for it to lock and achieve energetic ingress and enter the inner membrane layer structure itself. And again, it's analogous to the cyclone type weather pattern you'd see where you've got the eye of the storm and an inward spiraling vortex. Now here we've just got the evidence collage that these are all the stacked 17 frames from each of the 9 types of image analysis we do, and this is pretty standard for our UAP analysis and interpretation now, and building the AI model, along with using more other empirical evidence related to repetitive data analysis and statistical modeling. So we work both in terms of data analytics. We look at empirical analysis and statistical modeling, and we also look at quantum image analysis and structural forms and mechanics, and building the AI model that way as well. So the two are interrelated, and we're still doing a lot of work bringing those two things together into the future, subject to funding on how all this works, and technology transfer and transmedium craft development. So just this overall summary of findings here. So overall, there's no propulsion evidence, so there's non-inertial motion going on, and that supports our hypothesis of field coupling rather than inertia-driven travel. There's clear index valving consistent with our prior orb studies, which aligns with our earlier scalar phase indexing found in other UAP cases. And the scalar lattice is confirmed as the energetic substrate again, and imaging aligns with spatial lattice theories proposed in our prior NRGscapes work. So all of this current work we've done with this acquired data set for imaging aligns with a lot of our previous work on UAP, and this overall unified field concept that seems to underlie most, if not all, UAP phenomena. And I would also hesitate to say all forms of UAP and object types, not just orbs and orb-like craft and objects. So implications for future analysis. So we're looking at scalar lattice interference that represents a power delivery system. So objects don't carry fuel but draw energy from the environment itself. Object behavior validates our previous UAP lattice interaction or interaction with the substrate of space itself, and reinforces the hypothesis of external energetic infrastructure in the surrounding space, which seems to be universally present and mathematically confirmed if you go back and look at the scalar variable in Maxwell's extended electrodynamics and Heaviside's electrogravitic equations as well. We've done a lot of work linking all that up with this and published on that as well. Now this sets a benchmark for future reverse engineering efforts, provides a template for deconstructing other UAPs using similar techniques. So thank you again for listening to our latest UAP analysis. You can find a lot of our information. We've published our entire journey over the last several years on ResearchGate quite extensively now. You can find us on LinkedIn, and we have a YouTube channel which goes into a lot of detail on these narrated presentations and a whole lot of other media on UAP analysis and interpretation, technology transfer and reverse engineering. So thanks once again for watching.